Yo, what's going on, my friend? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. So in this video, as obviously you've clicked on this video for a diet plan to actually help you fix skinny fat, I'm going to go over a few steps to help you with that. So the first one, we're going to cover how many calories you should be eating per day to help you fix skinny fat. The second one, we're going to cover the macronutrients you should be consuming per day to help you fix skinny fat. And the third one, we're going to cover the types of foods you should be eating per day to help you, as I said, get rid of that skinny fat look and help you build the lean, muscular and confident body desired, right? So starting off with calories, right? The amount of calories that obviously we want to consume per day is going to be determined by what your primary goal is, right? Whether it's to focus mainly on building muscle and gaining weight, or actually losing fat and losing weight. You see what I mean? This is where obviously when we're in the skinny fat position, a common question that a lot of us will ask ourselves is, should I bulk or cut first, right? So I'm going to give you both, scenarios in this case, right? So the first one would be going back to my younger self, right? As a prime example. For me, when I started out in like a skinny fat frame, I was more on the leaner frame, right? The skinnier side of skinny fat, you know what I mean? Where again, you've got a bit of stubborn fat, right? A bit of stubborn belly fat, but the main issue for me is that I actually lacked enough muscle mass, right? And so what I actually did is what I'd recommend for you watching this video if you're in a similar situation is to put yourself in a lean calorie surplus of around 200 to 300 calories per day to put yourself in a lean bulking phase, right? A lean gaining phase. This will help you put yourself in the optimal environment to help you maximize your muscle growth and actually get you out of that skinny fat look, right? Because ultimately when you're actually skinny fat, the main way you're going to get out of that look is to actually really build more muscle mass. You see what I mean? And on the flip side, if you actually want to focus primarily on losing weight and losing body fat, right? Let's say you're above 15% body fat and you've got more like general fat mass on your frame. Like for example, one of my clients, Ian, when he initially first reached out to me, then what you'd actually want to do is you'd actually want to do the opposite, right? Of actually putting yourself in a calorie deficit, right? It's a good rule of thumb. I would say 250 to 500 calories of a deficit. That way you can actually lose fat gradually whilst actually giving yourself enough energy and calories to actually maintain muscle mass, or if you're newer to training, you could even build muscle mass whilst in a deficit. Now, as far as macronutrients go, obviously we've got proteins, carbohydrates, and fat. So with protein, my usual recommendation is anywhere between 0.8 grams to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, right? This is gonna depend on what your goals are, whether it's to build muscle or lose fat, and also what your preferences are. So obviously if you feel better on lower protein, you'd gravitate towards the lower side. And if you actually prefer to eat more protein, you gravitate towards the higher side, right? So as a good example, if you're 150 pounds, a good rule of thumb would be to have 150 grams per day. Pretty simple, right? Because obviously in skinny fat, as I said, the main issue of skinny fat is the lack of muscle mass. And the way you're gonna get that by actually building muscle mass is always ensuring you're eating plenty of protein per day to help with muscle growth and repair, right? So obviously with protein covered, this covers fats. Now with fats, I'd recommend 20 to 30% of your total calorie intake coming from fats, right? And so with that in mind, right, with the protein covered and the fats covered, the rest of what you'd consume per day would come from carbohydrates. So to keep the math simple, right, as I'm not the best at maths, right? If we say 25% of your total calorie intake comes from protein and 25% comes from fats, then obviously 25 plus 25 is 50, plus 50, right? 50% of your intake is then going to come from carbs, right? Obviously, this is going to vary depending on what your protein and fats are. This was just a good example to keep the math simple to help you give a visual representation of what it may look like for you. And so as far as the foods you should be eating, like the types of foods you should be eating, I always recommend more so of a whole foods based approach, because that way by eating highly quality nutritious whole foods, that way you're actually going to be fueling your body to not just give you more energy in the day and help you feel your best self, but also it's going to prime you for maximizing your muscle growth and fat loss potential, right? Now obviously as you can imagine, I could probably give you a whole shopping list right now of proteins, carbs, fats, everything, right? But to keep this video short and sweet, I do actually have other resources on this YouTube channel. For example, I do actually have some full day of eating videos on my YouTube channel. I actually link up right here on the screen here, one of the cards. So again, you can actually look at some of the meals I've shown in videos as well as some of the recipes. So you could actually look yourself at, what foods and meals you could eat yourself, breakfast, lunch and dinner, to help you with addressing and getting your diet plan together for fixing skinny fat. And obviously, as I have mentioned of, primarily focusing on eating whole foods, that doesn't mean that you've got to cut out your favorite foods, right? You always want to be having some of your unhealthier, like sweet tooth foods in moderation, right? Because it's like, you don't just want to get in the best shape of your life and then feel miserable, right? Because you're eating chicken, rice and broccoli all day, right? No, it's like you want to fit in, whether it's some chocolate or some ice cream, right? You could have it in your day-to-day routine as long as it's in moderation, or every other day, once or twice a week, whatever best suits you, right? Because that's the thing, man. Like for me, when I personally was actually in a skinny fat position a few years ago, like I let it take over my whole life, right? I let it make me feel miserable, because when I was skinny fat, obviously like it did batter my self-confidence a lot, right? For me, like the hardest thing, the scariest thing for me was actually taking my shirt off, right? Especially at school, because I knew if I was seen anywhere with my shirt off, right, I knew I was gonna be made fun of by friends because of like my bloated stomach, right? Because I told them that like I was really insecure about it, so it made them make fun of me more, right? You know what I mean? And so in addition to that, I know how frustrating it is being skinny fat, right? The biggest thing for us being skinny fat is the whole bulking and cutting scenario, right? It's the whole dilemma, right? It's like one guru can tell you to, you know, bulk up and get massive. I followed that advice, and I've ended up getting like, you know, bigger, but then feeling fat and sloppy, right? And then on the flip side, another guru may be like, right, Jay, you need to get in a massive cutting phase. So it's like, yes, you lose a lot of body fat, but then you end up losing muscle mass and you end up feeling skinny and weak. So it's literally like being back to square one, right? It's freaking frustrating, you know? It's like you put in all the work, like spinning your wheels, and you feel like you're actually not getting anywhere, right? It's pretty disheartening, right? To say the least, for me, at least, right? And so for me, what I'd say, or what I wish I could actually give my younger self if I had the ability to, which is actually some practical advice that you could take away as well, is to go for the slower and more consistent approach, if that makes sense. So it's like, if your goal is to gain weight, like don't try and eat as much food as possible, right? Focus on gaining weight slowly. That way, more of your weight gain is actually gonna be muscle mass as opposed to just getting fat, all right? And on the flip side, if you're trying to lose weight, don't starve yourself, right? I've been there myself, eating under 1,500 calories a day. It is no, it makes you miserable, all right? It makes you miserable, makes you feel awful, and I don't want that happening to you, right? It's like, you know, you've gotta have the moderation in the middle ground, right? The last thing you wanna do as well is let it take over your life where you don't have a social life, like I've had, right? It's like, if you've got friends and family asking you to go out for dinner, it's like, don't say no because you've got chicken and rice planned already. It's like, no, enjoy yourself, right? Fitness is supposed to make your life happier, not the other way around, you know what I mean? And the way you're gonna do that, as I said, is actually, you know, not going from one extreme to the other, of getting really like bulky and fat, or, you know, eating nothing and getting really skinny, right? Whatever your approach is, whether you wanna gain weight slowly and build muscle, or lose weight slowly and lose body fat, you know, do it more gradually, because that way you're gonna make more consistent progress. And if you're gonna make more consistent progress, you're gonna actually increase your self-confidence more. If you're making progress and your confidence going up, you're gonna stick with it. And if you stick with it, that's how you're gonna get results, right? It's how you can actually not just get out of skinny fat, but help you actually build towards other goals in your health and fitness and sustain the results for life, you know what I mean? Because that's what I want for you, man. I don't want you to just look your best self, I want to help you feel your best self as well. So, yeah, with that said, obviously, as you know, obviously diet, as addressed in this video, is a big part for fixing skinny fat, but obviously the training side of things is pretty damn important as well, right? As I said, muscle mass is very important for fixing skinny fat. So I was actually gonna make home workouts for fixing skinny fat, but obviously I do actually, as I said in last week's lockdown vlog, got a bit of an asthma issue right now as I'm recording this, which has actually made me have to take a few days off training to help me recover. But with that said, when I get back in the drill, I do need your help of obviously what workouts you want to see specifically for obviously fixing skinny fat. If it's, you know, specifically home workouts, body weight, weights, both, like I'm doing right now, of body weight and weights, let me know, comment down below. And obviously, because I want to make sure that the videos I'm making is specifically for the types of goals and needs that you want, so I can help you get the best results possible, right? So yeah, as I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've gained value from this video, and if you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it, because again, it helps me see what videos you like, so I can make more of those videos in the future. And yeah, I think that's everything covered. As I said, if you haven't subscribed yet, obviously make sure to subscribe, because I make new videos every single week for you to help you get in the best shape of your life through bodyweight training and skinny fat coaching tips and tricks. And yeah, that's everything covered. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching again. I appreciate you. Keep moving forward. Ciao, ciao.